Hi guys, it's Aegis here. So today I'm going to do another deck profile, and I'm going to do another Tachikaze deck profile. So it will not be a Gaia build because I've already get my Gaia build to you guys already. Even though I've updated a bit, unless you really want to see it, then you can let me know, and I can prepare for that. But not, then I will just be building something else. So this time around, I'll be actually building a ancient dragon build. So this is another more of a budget build if you want to play Tachikaze, even though Gaia is also cheap, given that a lot of people saying that the deck, the card is not strong enough. So both are cheap, but if you are looking for more kind of a simple way of playing Tachikaze as a clan, then you can try Ancient Dragons, because things can be very simple. At the same time, it can be very strong. Then when we go through the deck list, then you will see how. So after the starting Vanguard, I'm running 4 of the true Ancient Dragon Later Romeos. So this will be your main ride, but doesn't matter if you don't ride it. And I will say this first, for all of the true Ancient Dragon units, they will have a common skill, which is once per turn and on Vanguard and Radiant Circle. When you drive check a front triggers, during the turn they will get 1 crit. Of course, you can choose not to give it, but normally you would. So this is the common skill true Ancient Dragon gets, and also a very key factor for you to win the game, because as long as you hit a front triggers or your front row unit, as long as they are true Ancient Dragons, they will get 1 crit. So every single attack will be 2 crit. And sometimes if your opponent is already on 4 damage, then they have to block every single one, which sometimes can be massive to guard because you're using front triggers. Also, this card also have another skill. It's an active skill. By retiring one of your rearguard, you retire one of your opponent's rearguard. So you kill one of yourself and you eat one of your opponents. And not only that, you can also call up to 1 Ancient Dragon card from your deck. Shuffle it, and that unit will also get a 5k. So what this card does is it doesn't lose your field, refresh your field, and also give 5k to that unit. So it's a very strong skill. Unless you're facing like some clans that always clean the board, like Pale Moon, like Grand Blue, then you won't get that much of an advantage of retiring because you don't have targets to retire. But you can still kill some of the units that you kind of deprecating, or they have already used this skill and they don't have much skill anymore, or they are not Ancient Dragon related, even a trigger. You can turn it into something useful. As long as you put it on a Excel circle. Oops. As long as you put on this Excel circle, then they can be hitting key numbers. Even just a great one can still hit 13k. As long as you get the front triggers, they will be 23k with crit. So very strong card, and help you recycle your deck a lot faster, because it's pinpoint getting your Ancient Dragons, nothing else. So it will be your normal unit, and that means you are filling your deck, giving them powers, and leading you to probably hitting triggers a lot more easier. And then I am running 4 of the true Ancient Dragon barrel tops. So this is another card of our Great Freeze, and you won't mind to actually ride it, because his skill is when he appears on Vanguard and Radiant Circle, so you can of course ride him as a Vanguard. And if you have an Ancient Dragon Vanguard, which you will be most of the time, then you can counter last one, draw 1 card, and he get 5k. So not only he gains power, he also draw you cards. So as long as you have counter blast and maybe you don't have enough attackers, you can just ride him, get yourself a XL2, draw another card, use this skill counterblast, draw another card, and get 5k. So just this card itself is a 70k attacker, and if you get a front trigger, it's a 27k with crit. Also, if you ride him and use the skill, you draw 2 cards. So you basically have something to put on your exile circle, and maybe another unit that brings you something else. So very strong skill, but of course most of the time you want to ride this and call it as a regard, so it can hit 22 by itself on XL2, because XL2 give 5 and he can give 5 to himself. Then entering grade 2s, I'm running one of the Mega Rex, so it's kind of a backup here. If you want to run a little bit more, you can, but I'm using it to kind of want myself to get a little bit more power pump, and if I want a little bit more draw power. But you can see the deck actually have a lot more draw power, so there are times that you don't actually need Mega Rex, but if you find yourself needing to stack a little bit of gauges to make a more powerful 1 crit column, then you can still find Mega Rex useful. Because sometimes you can't always rely on your front triggers, then you need something that can hit key numbers and something that can help you retire something to draw to gain a little power up, so 1 is fine. Then I am running 3 of this Sealess Horn Dragon Dilo for Pyro. So I'm actually cutting a little bit copy of this card on my Gaia build, but I find this card very useful in this build, because when you play him from hand on Vanguard and Vanguard Circle, you counterblast 1 and you draw a card, and you call 1 onto the field and give it a gauge. But of course you can choose not to give a gauge, which doesn't matter, because I can simply tell you, unless you are calling a Mega Rex, usually you don't actually need to put any gauges at all. But the draw power is helpful, because you call it, counterblast 1, you draw a card and call it, then you already have like 2 units on the field with your Vanguard, so you can already wait for front triggers to do 3 attacks. So very helpful, and he can also help you to put down some great ones, because he increases your draw, and your barrel tops will also help you to draw, so you can actually get your pieces very fast, and as long as you're riding him, you can find your pieces directly. Even like use this skill, drawing card, call something, and you can just feel free to eat this card with him to call yourself another Ancient Dragons. Then you actually don't lose anything. You do counterblast, you draw yourself a card, you call something, and it now can be another Ancient Dragons that can prepare to get crit when you pull front triggers. Okay, so next I'm running 4 of these True Ancient Dragons Aloneros. So I have to say, this card will probably be your weakest attacker in this deck, because he doesn't have any kind of power gain abilities, which is making this card a little bit weaker as an attacker, but he is very important for you to rush your opponents. So his skill is, when he comes from your hand to Vanguard and Riga Circle, by counterblasting 1, you look at the top 3 cards of the deck and choose up to 1 card with Ancient Dragons in name, call it the Riga Circle, and put the rest to the bottom of the deck. So he can also help you to keep building your field like him, but he's pinpoint to Ancient Dragons only, and you only can choose from the 3. So if you open top 3, you can't find anything, then of course nothing happens, you just put 3 cards to the bottom of the deck, but you're increasing your chances to build your field faster, to do a little bit more rush, and if you like hit into this, then you can also counterblast 1 and draw another card, get 5k. So so heavy builds will feel a lot easier. And if you are facing clans that are good at cleaning your field, then you still need to try to use some cards to gain you some advantage. So these will help you, this will help you, this will help you. So even your whole board is gone, you can still build up your whole field back, as long as you have a counterblast. Okay, and then our next, I am running 4 of this True Ancient Dragon Hepsteraco. So this card, even is just a common, but I have to say this card is the star of the deck and is your key attacker. So his skill is, when he is being placed on a extra regard circle, so basically exile circles, and he will not be retired by opponent's card effects and get 5k. Even though if you are facing like Harry, they can still put you into soul, but they won't get retired, so this is important. And he can just basically get 5k on exile circle. He's already a 90k attacker. And also, don't forget that with this grade 3 here, you can search any ancient dragons, call it, and get 5k. So if you basically sack this, or maybe even a Mega X, doesn't matter, or maybe this after using a skill, you call this on the exile circle, he get 5k on the XL2 circle, he get 5k for himself, he get 5k from here. So he is already a 24k attacker, can hit basically anything. And if you got a front triggers, it's a 43k attacker with crit. So he is very, very important in this deck, and you always want to put him on a exile circle. So here comes all our grade 2s, then entering our grade 1s. So I am running 4 of the True Ancient Dragons Helper Tail. So this card is also a very important card in this deck, and his skill is very, very simple. During a turn, as long as you have an Ancient Dragon Vanguard, you get 5k. So he can be 13k attacker anytime, and even a booster, because he doesn't need to attack and get the 5k. It's a permanent skill during a turn. So you can feel free to just place him in the front row, hope for a front triggers and become 23k with crit. Just basically simple as that. And then I am running 4 of the True Ancient Dragons Terra Feet. So this is a quite interesting card, I say. As long as this card attack or boost attack hits the Vanguard, you look at top 7 of the deck and call up to 1 card with Ancient Dragon. Its name is Rest on Regard Circle, Natural Field deck. So this card couldn't gain you immediate advantage to do multiple attacks because you need to call the units that rested, but he can help you build you some field. Like if you are lacking a booster, then you can call that. But even though like you won't be calling this card, because this card have to be calling from hand to Vanguard Regard Circle, and you call from deck, he won't be able to use his skill, but you can call your barrel tops to suddenly draw you another card if you need, or even just call these to or even just call himself at the back row as rested, so next turn when you stand it up, then you can use it as a booster. Because this deck you do require some booster for your regards, you don't quite need to do that for your Vanguard, because when you see my triggers line up, then you will see. And then I'm running 3 of the Prison Bird, just in case if I need to find myself some key grade 3s, or maybe if I only got my barrel tops but I really want to have this, then I have more chances. And this deck you actually do have some rooms for some different grade 1s and 2s. That's why you can see I have 4 room here, and I have some space for this. but you won't be expecting the extra 5k from the gauge, because what you can gain gauges from is only these two, and you probably don't want to do that, because I'm not actually running the Radiodome and Blue Green Dragon build. They're using those two and maybe like increasing some mega axes so you can keep doing a little bit more multiple attacks, because I don't want to cut my reduce my deck this way. I want to be something that I can keep on from my hand or actually calling to the field. So you can see most of my cards that help you gain stuff are draw, directly call on the field, draw and directly call on the field, not power, also power on the field, building hand size, more kind of accuracy on getting great freeze. So basically the whole idea is to keep drawing, keep calling your stuff. That is what you needed, not triggers, so you can keep as much triggers in your deck when you want to pull them as front triggers. Also, I'm running two of the PG great ones. Not only you can simply write it to draw your extra card for filtering, even though you need to discard one, but also by using two of this PG, meaning I can max out my front triggers a lot easier. So quickly entering triggers, I am running 10 front triggers, 2 draw PGs, and 4 heals. So you do need heals, so you still need to put 4 heals in my opinion. After I do a little bit play testing today, I still find heal helpful, not only for saving my life on damages, but also as a guarding power. And you do need PGs, but I do want to try include as much front triggers as I can, so I'm still using 2 of the draw PGs, because I still want a little bit more draw power, even though I have a lot of draw power. But as a defensive, you are not drawing, but if sometimes you can get yourself a draw trigger for your damage, then you can still protect yourself. When you drive check, if you call a draw trigger, you can still use it as a PG. When your opponents attack you and you draw yourself an extra card. But running 4 is hard for this deck to win, because you do need to pull as much front triggers as you can when you do your drive check. So max you can do is like 12, but then I don't want to risk to put 4 grade 1 PGs and no drawing power, so I'm running 2. So this trigger lineup is kind of the best that I can think of right now. Of course, you can try 12 and maybe like 4 draw PGs and no heals to do a little bit of YOLO plays. You can do that, but for me, I am going aggressive, but at the same time I want to give myself a little bit more defensive. So the balance that I take here is this trigger lineup. So yeah, basically the whole deck is focusing on front triggers, so you are not going to run any crit triggers, even the 30k shields, because what you want to see is only front, draw, and heal, if you ask me. Because heal saves your lives, draw help you survive, front just push everything off. Crit, you only get 10k to one of your unit, and you only give crit to one of your unit. But with front triggers, you are giving all of your true ancient dragons 10k power and crit. So run as much front triggers as you can. You can follow my way of using the trigger lineup, and of course you can make your own, test it and see what you like. Yeah, so that basically is the list, and let's do some guides on what you can do with this deck. So a quick guide here. What you want to ride will probably be a prison bird or this. So riding prison bird get you a chances to find your great freaks if you don't have the right one. Riding this, as long as this attack hits, you can look at top 7 to call another ancient dragons. Rest it so you can prepare for next turn. So your great man ride options will be these two, and you probably want to keep this because it's still a very key attacker. And then when you enter in grade 2s, then you have a few choices. You can ride this, and you can ride this. Now, there's quite a few cards that doesn't need a Ancient Dragon Vanguard. So this you don't actually need a Ancient Dragon Vanguard. You just need to call it from hand, and you have counterblast and you can do it. This is not an Ancient Dragon, but he can simply draw your cards. So you draw something. If you have an extra counterblast and you also have this in hand, you can call this and counterblast one and call yourself another Ancient Dragons. So very easy to build your board, and if you are ready, use this skill to call something at the back, or maybe even like that. Then you can just push it up. If your Vanguard is Ancient Dragons, like this, and you call something like this, even just like that, you can just simply swing. If you get the front triggers, then they all get crits and you can just swing for a turn. Then on grade 3, then of course best is riding this card. Then now you can look at the field. Say if you do have a few counterblast, you can use this to draw yourself a card, pop it, and call this to your exile circle. Then you can just swing with it with high power later. And you can also use this, find yourself a grade 3, and then pop it for Ancient Dragons. Then if you have extra counterblast, then you can even like call this out, counterblast one, draw yourself another card, get 5k. And you just keep repeating, but make sure you don't call this with this skill because it needs to be called from hand. Then you just basically try to rewrite, sack yourself something for this, then maybe use this, call yourself another whatever Ancient Dragons, like that. And then next time you ride again, try to make another exile circle, and you just keep repeating and keep waiting for front triggers and keep pushing, then you will win. So it's a very easy to pilot deck, and let me do a little bit of quick shuffle and see how we actually goes. So I've shuffled the deck, and we can do a little cut here. So probably not I planned it. So let's look at our 5 cards. So not too bad. So of course I will put a trigger, and because I do want to call this as a superior call, so I'll probably put one back. And let's see. Okay. Not too bad, but I'm still actually getting a heal, but in early game can still be a very helpful defensive trigger, like shield value. So let's start. We draw. Let's say if we're going first, then you will write this. Draw yourself a card, great. We have the key pieces already. Then look at top 5, nothing. Of course, that's fine. Even if you go second, you can still do the same. Well, even you don't have any other options in this hand, then you swing for a drive check, nothing, and then maybe you take a damage. Okay, another heal gone. And a little bit sad here, you have 2 of these here. So yeah, unless you're facing a rushing deck, you're probably just going to take 1 damage. So draw. Now, you do have a few options. Say you can actually write this, draw yourself another card, and maybe call this out as an attacker. You can use this to look at your free. But you won't be able to call this because you only have 1 counterblast. So, but also at the same time, since I can actually use this next turn, so I will probably keep this and I will write this since I have no great ones except this, so I can actually counterblast and look at the top 3 cards. Now, if you actually do have an extra counterblast, you can simply call this one. But if not, then I'd rather call this and put your front triggers on top just in case. Right. Now, you will always want to attack with your Vanguard first because you're using front triggers, so you can call a Prison Bird here, look at another 5. Nothing. Because you already have like 2 Great Freeze and 1 at the bottom. So now you're also doing the shuffling, which if you actually see a lot of triggers when you use this skill, then you can use that to shuffle your deck. So let's see our luck. Attack, hit, no. And just waiting for something. Then let's say you take like 2 damage, that's fine. Then here, draw. That's really not good, I have to say, because you already have 3 of these in hand, which is very sad here, but doesn't matter. So what you will do now is you write this card and you get yourself a XL2 marker. There we go, XL2 marker. So now you draw yourself an extra card. Okay, doesn't matter. Now, what you want to do can be a few things. Say, if you really want to use this card, Barrel Tops, call it, counterblast, draw card. Nice. So you have your card to write next turn. So yeah, there you can have him to get 5k, and you still have 1 counterblast. So you can feel free to call this right here, but of course assuming you eat it afterwards. Okay, so counterblast 1, look at top 3, very nice. Then you can call this and put this to your bottom. Unless you actually see 1 of these, then you can just simply call on top, even though it's kind of a waste. Now, since you didn't call this Sterago on your field yet, so you can pop 1 of your opponent's regards and call yourself the last one. But if you still have more, then you can just repeat this every single turn. If not, you can still, if this is like that, you can pop this and call this, so you can counterblast and draw yourself another card and probably place it here. But if that's not the case, then you can just do it that way. Right, now you still attack with your Vanguard. Doesn't matter how weak it is, 12 is fine, because 1 front triggers will just benefit the whole thing. There we go. So 22 with crit, gain power already, so it's 20, 25, 35 with crit, 9, 8, 17, 27 with crit. This call by this already, so it's 24, 34k with crit. So your opponents will need to deal with 35, 27, 34, all with crit for the whole turn, and you basically just need 1 front triggers every single turn, and you don't need anything extra. You don't need 2 front triggers. Of course, 2 front triggers will just push your opponents to a very, very hard to defense corner, but yeah, doesn't matter. So next turn you will just ride again. Depending if this is still here, then you can pop this. For something else, then maybe since you have another extra marker, you can even just call it from hand and just hope reward yourself for another front triggers. Yeah, so that's basically how the deck runs. And this sample isn't too bad, except I'm drawing this card too much, but you can't actually help with that, and it's a lot better than you see it on damage or in your gauge, because I'm not using radio down all this kind of stuff to call them back. Yeah, so that's basically everything I can tell you about this deck. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know any questions so I can just answer them when I see them. But I think this deck is quite easy to pilot, as I said before. So build it, enjoy it, and I can finally say this is enjoy yourself with Tachikaze with front triggers. Yeah, so thanks for watching again, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off.